Hey everybody, hi Virgo. So I'm going over Uranus into Gemini because Uranus into Gemini is a bigger deal right now. And I mean it's a biggish deal anytime, an outer planet, a transpersonal planet shifts signs. It's more like it impacts society and the world around us and around you. But it still impacts you personally, even though it's called a transpersonal planet. It still impacts you a great deal. Um, and the times we're living in are just so interesting, and everything feels like it's on a larger scale. And so it seems worthy of covering it. And so we're going to look at your sign and where it is, and it's in such an interesting point in the Virgo chart. So um, you've been feeling this impact actually for a year or more because when these outer planets, the transpersonal planets, are pushing in on a like a crossover point or a threshold where, like in this case, the threshold between Taurus and Gemini, they kind of hover there and assert pressure there for a while. And they just have a greater impact. So you feel them even though they haven't maybe even firmly crossed over the threshold. They make their presence known. And so you've been feeling the tremors here and for a while. And in the Virgo chart, you have been hosting the planet of Uranus in this area that impacts world travel, your philosophical views, religion, higher learning, um, publishing, broadcasting. So that includes like writing, public speaking, going to a university, getting a higher degree, or learning anything at a higher level. Sometimes you're not in a university setting, but you're learning something at a much higher level where you're gaining kind of a mastery over the subject matter. So if you're like, let's say you're a writer and you're publishing, you've been writing for 8 years, and so you're gaining strength and skill in that area of writing and perhaps publishing, or you've been practicing public speaking for that long. You're gaining, you're getting good at it. Maybe you've done your clocked your 10,000 hours and you're more of an expert at something. And so a lot of you will be feeling a sense of accomplishment, like, you'll hopefully be able to see your own excellence and accomplishment over something that you've been working on for 8 years plus, but it has like this 8, 9 years kind of bracket around it. Hang on, hang on a second. I have soup on because I also have a cold. Hang on, let me just pause this. Okay, I'm back with my chicken broth. There's something about chicken broth. I know if you're vegan, you can't do, or vegetarian, you can't do chicken broth, but there's something about it that is so healing, I think. So anyway, so Virgos. So that's where it's been. That's where your life has been shaken up. Your world has gotten bigger. Basically, like if I had to say it in one statement, I would say for Virgos, your world has gotten bigger, and perhaps your stage has gotten bigger. If and stage is so relative because sometimes people are like, well, I'm not like on a stage. But it could just be instead of hiding in your house all the time, working at home, just being at home, being in your house, which I do a lot of because I work from home. That somehow you uh, maybe you joined a community, or you started writing a newsletter, or just somehow you're connecting with more people. And it could be 25 more people, 50 more people, 70 more people, or it could be 70,000 more people. It just depends. And don't compare yourself. Don't use numbers in terms of, don't measure how much your world has grown. Just know that it has grown. And I think if you think back over the last 8 years, you can see how your world has grown, your vision has changed. I mean, the world has changed, so your vision had to change. And you've grown in your skill level somewhere, and probably multiple ways your skill level has elevated. So that's where it has been. Alongside that, the downside to Uranus in Taurus, which is where it has been, is you had to go through a lot of discomfort. Not like every single second of every single day, but there were uncomfortable moments when you were challenged to grow, where maybe you doubted your sense of accomplishment or your ability to build skill and achievement. You may have doubted yourself over this past little bit. And you had to keep coming back from it. And you've also had pleasant surprises in these very same areas or a different area, but in this ninth house range of all the topics I listed. You've had surprising gains or surprising breakthroughs. So good things have happened. Like I said, by the time Uranus hits the top of your chart, there is a sense of having accomplished something, doors opening suddenly, being noticed, being discovered suddenly or something. But especially in this, like, what's interesting about Uranus is it's almost like if your chart, the way I look at it, it's a circle. That's the way it comes across when I'm studying it. You know, if you've ever seen a birth chart in a Western way, it looks like this circle. And it's kind of like Uranus is this very powerful satellite dish that's been slowly coming up to the top of your chart, like the top of your roof line. So it's coming into this very pivotal place where it can really broadcast. It can really capture information and download to you, and it can also transmit your voice and what you're doing and in a very powerful way, because it just is all about transmission and travel and airwaves. And so it's kind of like you've been hoisting this heavy, like satellite dish to the top of your roof line of your life and broadcasting, trying to get yourself out there. And so it's very helpful for people who do want to broadcast and publish. The hard thing for Virgo is that you tend to like to hang back on the sidelines. You love to encourage others. You love to cheer other people on to success and achievement. And then you yourself will hang back. You will even sabotage yourself to hang back so that you can maintain your place on the sidelines. Even when people are opening, handing you, opportunity with both hands and opening huge barn doors, you can sabotage and not walk through them or walk through them and run away and hide. So there's just kind of the Virgo, that discomfort with being seen. And I think Virgos deep down do feel like they do recognize that they know how to do stuff. They recognize that they know stuff. Virgos, like Geminis, where Uranus will be headed, it's another mutable sign. Virgos, like Geminis, are very intelligent in their own way. Virgos are able to see both the big picture and the details, and they can zoom in and out. They're highly observant, and so they can see they do pattern recognition really well. And it makes Virgos very good at certain things, lots of things. They're multitasker, multi-talented people. A lot of Virgos, if you talk to them, they have so many interests. Sometimes it may be hard for them to decide what to study in school because they have all these interests, and they may change track over and over again because their brain is curious and wants to jump around. And so anyway, I don't know if that describes you, but Uranus crossing over the midheaven of your chart is a very powerful point on anyone's chart, this midheaven point. It's like the top of your life's roof. And there it is, Uranus, this big, powerful, transpersonal planet with the ability to download information powerfully and upload information powerfully and transmit. You have this opportunity. It also will, as Uranus is wont to do, it is the planet. The one thing you can predict about Uranus is its unpredictability. And so I could never tell you exactly what's going to happen over the next 7 to 8 years or at the end of April because it's 100% unpredictable. There are themes, like we know where it is in your chart, especially if you're a Virgo rising. It will still apply to suns and moons, but it more so to like more accurately and specifically to a Virgo rising. Um, yeah, we can predict that it's moving across this kind of blending and kind of fusing together this area of having learned and broadened your scope, opened your world, is directly impacting what's happening next in this area where you're putting it back out into the world. So where it's going in Gemini is more about your career, if you have a career or a powerful hobby. Sometimes it's a powerful moment where a hobby that you've been practicing becomes more of a solid career. And surprises happen along the way. Doors open, like I said, shakeups happen. And you could suddenly, the word suddenly fits Uranus so well, suddenly something happens and you're in a whole new, it's like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland. Suddenly you're in this whole new world that was completely unexpected. What bodes well for the individual here is, as opposed to society at large. It also bodes well for society at large, but you're here probably to hear about yourself. What bodes well for you as an individual is that Venus is in proximity to Uranus as it makes this transit. And Uranus, I know it doesn't, the outer world feels so crazy, and your life may feel crazy right now, and then chaotic and even dark. But I'm telling you, Uranus is in a good relationship with the other outer planets, the transpersonal planets. On this day that transit is happening over your midheaven, Jupiter is aligned with the moon is aligned with Uranus, which, all in happy alignments. Now, there are some tougher transits here, and not everything is pretty. And as we know, like I would be lying and ridiculously so, because the world looks like a mess. But lo and behold, a harbinger of this next phase, this next era, it looks good in a number of ways. Hang on, and I'll tell you how. Okay, thank you. So in your career, again, we can't predict the what, but we can predict that by the end of the next 7 years, so starting now, like here's your starting point where you are right now, what you think is possible and what you think will be over the next 7 years. All I know for sure is that when you're 7 years from now, 8 years from now, you'll be like, I never could have predicted this. I never could have predicted where I am now. And Uranus's goal for you always is to make you more authentic to yourself. And especially so in this particular transit that it's entering, is your goal is to be super, super authentic and transparent and exactly who you are. Now, Virgos are fairly good at that. They're not because they're so much better than others, but because they don't have time to create big, thick masks and pretend. They don't have the patience or the time for it. So it's like, I'm just going to be authentic and very transparent, because I don't have time to create some kind of cover. And it's just impractical to always be doing that. So as Virgos, it's more of a, like, efficiency, effectiveness that prevents them from covering up too much. So sometimes Virgos are going to be, that's why they're more direct and they don't always sugarcoat what they're saying. It's why they can come across as terse or distant, because they just don't have time. They don't have the patience for pretending as much as some of the other signs have patience for. And it's not that the other signs are evil, but they may sugarcoat or sidestep because they want to make other people feel good. Virgos want to make other people feel good, but they want to do it by being very direct. So anyway, the one thing we know for sure is that 7 years from now, looking back, you'll be like, I knew it was going to be something, and this is within the realm maybe of what I saw, but I never saw it unfolding like this or shaking out like this. That's one thing we know for sure. We just don't know what exactly. Our some clues are you being more open about your feelings. You not just being transparent through effectiveness and efficiency, but really showing your heart and being more heart-centered in a way that people can see. Like Virgos are always heart-centered, like all the other signs. All the other signs are heart-centered too, but Virgos don't always show it. They, even if they think they're showing it, other people can experience your heart energy and your generosity differently. They don't feel the connection necessarily to your heart and what's going on inside of you. And so your mission over, and you're going to have help with this. Like you're being supported in doing the opposite of what a lot of Virgos tend to want to do, hide. You're going to be showing yourself more, show more of your feelings, more of the way you genuinely are inside. It doesn't mean you have to suddenly like, it's like messy, show you everything about myself and I have no privacy. It's not like that at all. It's just being authentic in a new way where you're real, it's your authentic emotions and you're not appearing as buttoned down or closed off, even though you don't think you're being that way. A lot of Virgos do come up, even though people like you, they may experience you as being like a very likable and a little closed off. And so anyway, uh, you're going to have help with that, sometimes against your will, because Uranus, like these larger, like transpersonal planets, tend to force you to go through some thresholds if you're not, haven't been willing to do it before. So just being far more willing to be seen with all your flaws and being imperfect. This is also a time like on a daily, in a kind of a daily way where there may be some issues with parents. So I know when Uranus went across my midheaven and made its way through the 10th house, a parent, this can also represent authority figures or a parent. This is when one of my parents started displaying much more visibly and recognizably some strong dementia symptoms. And so then I had to step in and intervene. And this was shocking and, flipped my world upside down as Uranus can do. And so it can cause shakeup sometimes with parenting roles and reversing roles. It can also, it's a lot about your identity too. So a part of this being transparent, being who you really are, it's like a lot, you have been shedding some old pieces of identity. You've already been doing that. And you'll continue to do that through this. You may think, well, I've already done that. There's no more to shed, but yeah, there's always more to shed. And then you'll, by a process of winnowing away and shedding, what emerges is like actually you. And you're in a big, more public way of doing this. Because sometimes with your tightest circle of friends, you can sit back and really kick back and be yourself. And they see you for who you are. But the outer world may not see all the bits. And so this is a time when, and again, this is so uncomfortable for Virgo who likes to stay on the sidelines. You'll be showing more of your bits, but not like literally. And let's see, along with this transit of Uranus, what can't be ignored is you do have psychological and physical drains on you based on other people in your life. So you may have people that you continue to care for who need your assistance because they have psychological issues, physical issues. There's stuff going on behind the scenes where you feel a drain on your energy. And so as you have these public shakeups, it could feel like on like all sides, you're kind of that like there's nowhere to hide. And Virgos do like a little hidey hole, like they like to kind of go into their shell, almost like a Cancer, but more like a turtle maybe, rather than a crab. You like to kind of go sit and hunker down and just observe and wait till it feels safe. And it may feel like there are not as many ways you can do that, and it may feel stressful to your system. So the answer is not to hide necessarily, but to what tools you'll be given by these transits is the ability to adapt very quickly and to be, and Virgo's already actually very good at adapting. You're good at adapting, but it's like it's on steroids. Like it's almost like a superpower that all of us are going to have, and we need this superpower collectively to adapt quickly and to figure things out more agilely than we have been. Like globally, everyone's going to have like an amped up ability to solve problems. You're going to be doing this with yourself, but also with these things going on behind the scenes. You're getting really smart and able to figure out how to solve problems in your personal life that involve taking care of other people. Sometimes things that, and again, I want to reiterate, not everything in your life has to be public by being more transparent. There are times when you protect and you shield others, but you're going to have like your problem solving skills are on steroids. Everyone's are, but yours will be focused on some of these more private issues that may involve other people's health and maybe finances, financial stuff. Right now, your ability to think through all this will be supercharged. So I don't know who needs to hear that, but at the end of the day, you're safe. Even though the world's a scary place and Virgos like to kind of hang back, you're safe. You just know that you're safe in so many ways and held in so many ways. And to kind of prove it to yourself, there's this part inside of you where you can, once you find your way there, you can keep coming back to it. There's a part inside of you where you can trust yourself and you are safe to yourself. Like you have a space inside of you where you can go for safety. And it's not a dissociated place. It's not a fantasy place. It's an actual solid place inside of you where you can trust yourself. And once you find where that is, it connects you to something much larger that feels safe and solid, where you're protected and feel supported. And so just remember that you have this place inside of yourself that's like an oasis, is the word that keeps coming to me today, that you can find, but you've got to figure out how to get there. And to get there right now involves shedding the parts that are inauthentic or just old parts that don't fit you anymore, like old parts of your identity, who you thought you were. Some of it needs to be shed. And then there's this new you emerging amidst this new world. And continuing to allow your identity to change, allow people to see you. While you're doing all that, it actually helps you find the safe place inside of you where you can feel safe and protected and calm and supported and loved. So that's what I want to say to you, Virgo. Take care.